It's a beautiful bacon day, Cookie Crusaders. Today we're going to be trying out a PvP team just right before the update happens. And I say that because, as you may already know, Werewolf Cookie is not only going to be getting a buff, but also going to be getting a magic candy. So as of right now, the toppings we are running is caramel speed toppings on Schwartz, Werewolf, and Caramel Arrow. So as you can see, the speed is most focused on Schwartz and Caramel Arrow, so they are going to be getting the buff now. The attack speed does really good for Werewolf, and if you can get the robes buff on Werewolf as well. However, you can only pick 2 cookies, and right now I think currently, before the magic candy, it's best on Caramel Arrow and Schwartz. After the magic candy, it might actually be most beneficial to get it on Werewolf and Schwartz, because Schwartz gets those stuns. And if we can get injury additions plus potential stuns from Werewolf from higher attack speed, it might be beneficial to go that way, because then we can push over to a critical focus on Caramel Arrow and then still have good attack speed, good animations and everything, but not necessarily be the center of focus. So we're going to try it both ways, see what happens. And we're also running Black Pearl for healing lower, and the BTS cookie for the shields, and just the overall survivability, as the BTS cookies are doing the best healing right now in most situations. So let's give it a shot and show you what's going on. And like I said, we're trying this team pre-update, so that way you can see how it performs now and how it's going to perform after the update. The nice thing about the injury that Werewolf is going to do is going to mean that lower overall HP, so even if the opponent can heal, they'll have less healing, and so that gives better chances for us to actually tear through the teams a little bit better. And as you can see right now, we're gonna run into a lot of issues right now because Werewolf is just not dealing enough damage. Now, if we switch it up though, and we make it so that Caramel Arrow is actually not getting the robes buff, and that we put the robes buff onto Werewolf Cookie, we're gonna have to fight through a couple teams first to get to the regular teams, because obviously it's not fair comparing 5 cookies to 3. But you can already see that the attacks are going very quick for Werewolf, and that is super helpful in a lot of different ways. What you can also tell though is that even against a 3 cookie team here, we're really not doing a lot of damage very quickly. So we're not AoE damage blasters like Espresso, Black Pearl, Clotted Cream Cookie, and overall our damage wasn't huge either. So really it's a questionable thing of whether we will actually be able to push enough damage once the magic candy happens, or if Werewolf will get a nice buff but not necessarily take over into the meta. So that's why we're testing the team beforehand, so that we have comparative results for when the update does come. Now, the other thing is that we do have the injury for Werewolf that will happen with this new skill update, and the overall stat increases too, but what we don't know is the Torn Scar and the Fatal Strike, I believe were the 2 skills called, that will be coming with the magic candy. So that could make some big differences. Alright, so here we go. We're going to fight normal PvP team. We'll see what the status is, what we can dish out, and what to relatively expect. Now, another thing I'm considering is, depending on how strong Macaroon Cookie is instead of running Black Pearl, maybe running Macaroon, because that is another healer in technicality because of her skill that we've seen on the Twitter feeds, but also a summoner to push more damage against the enemy teams. Now, yes, we could technically run Cotton Cookie right now to resemble similarities, but just for the idea, we don't really know the full skills, so it's hard to kind of tell. But as you can see right here, because we gave the speed boost to Werewolf Cookie, we actually did some pretty decent damage. So we were only able to dish out about 500,000 damage with Werewolf when the robes buff was not attached. Where here, with the robes buff attached, we got over 1 million damage. So if you think about it, we're already getting an attack increase just for the base stats on itself once Werewolf's update happens, but we're also getting the magic candy update. So it's potential that Werewolf could compete on the same level as Caramel Arrow when it comes to high pushing damage. as long as the robes are attached to Werewolf. And that's why I think the caramel toppings are going to probably be the best. You could make the argument of making a high attack speed attack toppings or critical toppings. Definitely something that we'll have to experiment with for sure. But it's very interesting to say the least. Still not really competing at the level of a legendary cookie like Black Pearl, so we do have to keep that in consideration. But the nice thing is Werewolf does have that push potential and those stuns from the regular attacks. So it's definitely something that we can look into and see if it's going to work. But this is pre-update. We wanted to test the team first, see what their overall potential is. There's a few other teams I'm definitely considering, just between Macaroon and the Werewolf update overall. But I feel like this one's going to have some pretty good potential once we get that Magic Candy to level 10, which you know I'll be doing my best to get to there as soon as possible. And if you're needing ways to do that, don't forget you can speed up Magic Labs, you can speed up the trains to get certain materials, you can speed up balloons. Those are ways you can get those materials moving just a little bit faster if you want to get those things unlocked. You don't have to do it as a paid player, you can do it as a free-to-play player. Only if you have the resources to do so, of course. So, let me know in the comments what you think. Is this going to be a potential new meta team, or do you think that we're still going to see a lot of double tanks, high tanks, double AoEs with Espresso and Black Pearl? Do you think the meta is just really not going to change too much? Either way, I'd love to see your thoughts and comments. So I appreciate it as always, and thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day.